Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. So welcome to the day 4 and the last session of this training program, how to write a research article. Today we are going to discuss three things. Number one, I'm going to talk about the referencing styles, the technique and the software used. In the second part, I'm going to discuss how to prepare your manuscript for the final submission. And in the last part, I'm going to discuss how to respond to the peer review comments and to understand the process of how the peer review works. So again, we'll start with the story. Those of you who joined early, I have already shared this story or question with them. So the story is about Dr. Ehsan. He's about to start writing his thesis or probably a research article, but he's a bit confused about these words and wants to know the difference between citation, reference, and bibliography. Second, he cannot afford to buy EndNote, which is a very powerful and recommended software for referencing, and is looking for free alternatives. Can you please help him out? So can you please type in your responses in the chat box that what's a citation, what's a reference, and what's a bibliography? Okay, bibliography is made up of all your references. Okay, Dr. Khan, citation to a reference or quote from a publication. Good, sir. Hafsa Shahid Mendele, probably your Dr. Hafsa is answering the question number 2. Dr. Yusuf, citation presented in text. Reference the actual address, and bibliography is the style and list of references. Dr. Ramsha Mendele, citation is to cite the reference, alternative from PubMed or Sci-Hub. Dr. Fawad, citation means sources of info. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, come back. I'll tell you the difference between these two because it's important to know the difference before you start writing. Okay, so again, the first question that why do you need to use references in your manuscript or your thesis or your dissertation in the first place? And it's very, very important and recommended that you should use references. So we use references for the following reasons. Number one, to give credit to others for their work. I have been using this quote repeatedly throughout the course that if I can see further because I stand upon the shoulder of giants, which means that whatever work you do is related to the work done in the past. And no research work in the world is truly original research work. It is always a continuation of some work done in the past. So whatever you do today is connected to the work done in the past. It is built upon the things that people did in the past or in your own time. So you have to give credit to the work that they have done and which has helped you to further progress their work and your own work. Number two, to add credibility to your work by showing that you used valid information sources. For example, you make a claim in your article, you make a statement in your article, or you probably give a statistics in your article. The incidence of stroke in Pakistan ranges from 6 to 10% per year. Now, how did you use that statistics? If you give a proper reference in a reference to a good article, to a good journal, to a credible source, it would actually increase the credibility of your own article and your own research thesis. So that's important, and that's the value of using a reference. Number 3, to show how your work is related to previous work. Again, if I can see further because I stand upon the shoulder of giants. So for example, if someone is writing an article on, let's say, DNA or genetics, so he or she has to reference the classical article on the helical structure of DNA by Watson and Crick, which was published back in 1953. It's a pretty old article, but if you connect your current work with the work done in the past, it shows that it's a continuous chain of knowledge going on. And last but not least, to help readers find further information. I'm sure it has happened with you as it has happened with me many a times. Whenever you read a good review article on a particular topic, sometimes you want to go to the reference list and explore the reference list because that reference list gives you further citations and references to really good articles to read and then quote and then gather further knowledge. So that is the importance of using references in your articles and your thesis. Now you need to know difference between citation, reference, and bibliography. Most of you are pretty clear what it means, and I'm only going to revise it for you. Citation means a quotation from or reference to a book, paper, or author placed inside the article manuscript text. So once you are reading an article, you might have noticed those small 1, 2, 3, 4, or in the superscript, or in the brackets, or in the square brackets, or sometimes you see the name of the author mentioned along with the year of publication. Now that thing which is inside the text or inside the manuscript is known as citation. And the citation leads to reference, and reference comes at the end of article text, and it should contain only work cited within the text. It is the information that guides the reader to the source. So that 1 2 3 4 means that you have used and you have chosen a certain reference, and now you have to provide that reference in the reference list at the end of the article. So that becomes your reference. That reference should be based on the article that you have actually read. A colleague asked a question yesterday that can we only read the abstract and then cite or quote the article? My request would be don't do that. That's a very wrong thing to do, because the abstract is only a summary. It does not give you the full information. And if you quote and cite an abstract, people would think that you have actually read the whole article, and you might misinterpret the article. So don't do that. And bibliography is actually any list of references at the end of text, whether they are cited or not. For example, whenever you're writing an article or searching literature for your dissertation, you might actually read or scan and collect, let's say 50, 60, or even 100 articles, but you don't quote and cite all of those 100 articles. So you choose only 30 articles which you use in your reference list of your article. So those 30 become the references, but the whole list of those 100 article is your bibliography. So this is the difference between citation, reference, and bibliography. What are the different formats available? Again, it all depends on the journal, and you have to read the instruction to author, and you have to scan a couple of articles in that particular journals in order to know the format that is acceptable to that particular journal. I'm sure you might have seen all these kind of different formats. So look at this format number 1, Day and Gaskell 2011. So this is properly APA format, American Psychological Association format, in which you have to give the name of the author and the year of publication. Look at the format number 2, superscript. Format number 3, no subscript or superscript. It is in the round brackets. Number 4, it is again superscript but in square brackets. So whatever the is the format for the referencing citation for that particular journal, you must follow that. This is a very common mistake that colleagues make, that they don't bother about these citations, and it gives a very wrong and bad impression once the article is reviewed or scanned by the editor on the first go. What are the different styles of references? What are the different styles of references available? So again, they are based on the names of cities in the West. So you might have heard the name like the Vancouver style, which is the most common in the biomedical sciences all around the globe, as well as in Pakistan. And we are going to focus only on the Vancouver style today. Then there is Howard style, the Chicago style, the ACS, AMA, MLA. There are more than 100 referencing styles available with little bit of variation. And you don't need to remember each of the styles, because there are very good, powerful tools available nowadays which you can use. But it's good that you at least know the basics of Vancouver style, because Vancouver is the referencing style used by all biomedical journals of Pakistan and most of the English biomedical journals all around the globe. So again, just to give a quick overview of what this Vancouver style is. So you might be knowing, in probably for many of you, it will be sort of a revision, that the Vancouver style starts from the name, and the name has to be abbreviated in a certain way. The last name comes first, and rest of the names are then abbreviated as the first initials. For example, my name is Farooq Azam Rathore. So my Vancouver name becomes Rathore FA. You have to mention the names of only first 6 authors, and then you put the word at all. Then you have to give the correct title of the article as per it is mentioned in the Medline or the PubMed. So whatever is the article title, it's a small title or a long title, you have to mention the complete title. Then you have to mention the correct name of the journal abbreviated as per in the Medline or in the PubMed. For example, this is Pediatric Surgery International, but it has been abbreviated as Pediat Surg and INT Int. Then you have to mention the name of the year of the article published, year of publication, followed by the volume number. And then you have to mention the page number. And this should be not be written as 445 to 447, but please note the difference, 445 to 7. But if it was 445 to 457, it would have been written as 445 to 57. If it was 445 to 531, it would have been written as 445 to 531. So this is how you write the bibliographic elements in a Vancouver style. Coming to the punctuation marks, you might say, what's the big deal? Why to bother about the punctuation marks? You need to understand that specifically in many cases, the journals, they use these computer softwares and AI algorithm. So the computer software and AI algorithm doesn't care if you have misplaced even a single comma or even a single full stop. If it is wrong, they are going to mark it as wrong, and it might create trouble for you. So you need to understand at least the punctuation marks basics as well. So for example, you can see that in between the author name, there should be a single comma and followed by space. And at the end of the author's name, you have to put a full stop. And similarly, there is a full stop at the end of the article title, but there is no full stop and only a single space between the abbreviated journal name and the year of publication. And after the year of publication, for example, in this case, after 2009, you can see a semicolon, then a colon, and then a hyphen to separate the page numbers, and then a full stop at the end. So these are important things that you need to understand. You don't need to remember them because your citation software can do it for you, but it's always good that you don't rely too much on the software and you use your own mind and you know the basics as well. So this was all about Vancouver style, and we are going to do a small exercise so it can become easier for you to understand this. Okay, coming to the reference management softwares. So what are reference management softwares? Any idea, any thing that you can tell me about these? Reference management software. What are reference management softwares? Oh yeah, I know. EndNote, Zotero, good, excellent. Anything else? So what are they? What do they do? Mendeley. Okay, excellent. So all of you are probably pretty clear about what these software management softwares are. What software do you use? What is your preferred software for reference management? Dr. Yusuf, Mendeley. Okay, Dr. Roma, Mendeley and EndNote. Dr. Mariam, EndNote. Dr. Paracha, EndNote. Okay, the fantastic. So EndNote is probably the commonest and one of the most widely available. But the challenge with EndNote is that EndNote is a subscribed software. It's not free of cost. And as I mentioned in my first session, that the resources that I'm going to share will be the resources that are available free of cost to everyone. So two very important and excellent resources for reference management software are Mendeley and Zotero. Mendeley and Zotero. So these are the two things that you need to probably download and explore. I'm really sorry, because of the paucity of time, it won't be possible for me to do a session on Mendeley or Zotero. They are completely different sessions. But the good thing about Mendeley is that Mendeley is being run by the same team of Cleverate that actually manages and runs and markets the software of EndNote. So whereas EndNote is available for hundreds of US dollars, Mendeley is available free of cost, number one. Number two, Mendeley is also available as an application, both in the iOS and in the Google Play Store. You can download it and you can easily use it on your mobile phones, your laptop, your desktop, and your tablets. In addition, Mendeley also allows you to download and store the full text of the PDF that are available. So if you ask me, Mendeley is a very powerful source. Mendeley has a very well-developed, strong online community which runs a lot of online and offline courses in order to teach people how to use this Mendeley software for reference management. And similarly, Zotero is again an online tool, free to use, easy. The learning curve of both takes a little bit of time to understand and become comfortable. But once you have mastered the technique of Zotero or Mendeley, your life becomes easier. And this is specifically important for people who are writing a dissertation, a thesis, or review article where you have to manage 50, 60, 100, 200 references. So just imagine if you have to like change your references a couple of times. It's a lot of headache if you don't use this software, because manual changing of references is a very tedious task. And in addition, sometimes you have to change the whole format. So for example, the journal A asks you the Vancouver format, but the journal B asks you the AP or the Harvard or the Chicago style. So would you actually change the 50 references into Harvard or Chicago style? That's going to take a lot of time. But if you are using a software like Mendeley, Zotero, or EndNote, it would make your life easier. So let's do a quick hands-on exercise. on this references. Please carefully study these slides and then spot the mistakes and write them in the chat box. This is your question. Carefully read the slide, spot the mistakes and write them in the chat box. There are around 4 to 5 mistakes in this slide. So this is supposedly a Vancouver style reference, which has a lot of mistakes. So let's identify the mistakes. At all, okay, Dr. Sajjad, at all only after 4 authors, good. Semicolon after no full stop from Dr. Amara, good, excellent, fantastic, yeah, wow. So many messages that I can't even follow them. Colon after hemangioma. Dr. Fawad, no, I'm sorry, Dr. Fawad, colon after hemangiomas is correct because this is how it was written in the title in the journal. So colon after that hemangioma is correct, right? Page number, Dr. Barisha, what's the problem with page number? Where is the journal name? Dr. Rabia, pediatrics is the journal name. Dr. Mariam, pediatrics is a journal name. Semicolon after 2006. Dr. Aisha, good. That's a mistake. Good. There should be a comma between 2 names. Good. Dr. Afshan, good. Okay, Dr. Hafsa, 882, good, excellent. Dr. Yusuf Jamal also picked the same mistake. And Dr. Adnan also picked the same mistake. Dr. Mariam says page number. Fantastic, yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. So these are the mistakes. At all is written after 4 authors. It should have been written after 6 or more authors. Excellent. Oops, just give me a second. And is not written in between the author's name. You simply have to put in comma and you don't write and, right? Full stop after the end of the article title and the reference was missing. And this should have been written as this. That is, you put a semicolon, you reduce the space, and instead of writing it 887, you only write 7. Good. So you have an idea what Vancouver style looks like. Let's do another one. Okay. Any ideas? What are the mistakes in this one? Sago as Dr. Adnan says, hyphen after journal name, full stop before the title. Before the title. Names not abbreviated proper, Dr. Afshan. Okay. Dr. Kiran has issue with that journal name. Good. Excellent. Anything else? Okay. Anything else? Hyphen in the author name. Good, Dr. Aisha. Anything else? What are your comments on this name? Mendoza Seguan M. Is it correct or it is incorrect? What are the thoughts of my colleagues on this name? Mendoza Seguan M. Is it correct or incorrect? I'm sorry, I got disconnected. So, oops. Oops. So my question was, what are the comments of my colleague on this name, Mendoza Seguan M? Is it correct or incorrect? Third author. Why Mendoza Seguan M is correct and why Mustafa Ali R is incorrect? Okay, so let's move forward. So please remember that Mendoza Seguan is actually a single name. It's a Spanish name, and you can see the hyphen in between. So this name will not be abbreviated. It's a correct name. Whereas the word Mustafa Ali R is written incorrectly. So Mustafa Ali R should have been written as Mustafa AR. That's the first mistake. Colon mark after Mustafa Ali R is wrong. There should be a full stop. Number three, this should have been written as this. And the issue number is not to be written. This 5 is not to be written if it is a continuous publication. So the 40 word means that this is the 40th year of publication for this particular journal, and you don't need to mention the number 5 or the month. And last but not the least is J pediatric surgery should have been written as J pediat surg, because these are the standard abbreviation of Medline regarding abbreviation of the journals. And please remember, not every journal in Pakistan and in the world is indexed on PubMed. And sometimes you are in a fix that how will I abbreviate the name of this particular journal because it is not present in PubMed. So you actually take guidance in this way, that usually the word journal is abbreviated as J. For example, pediatric is usually abbreviated as pediat, and surgery is usually abbreviated as surg. So if the name of the journal is Pakistan Journal of Pediatrics, so probably you can abbreviate it as Pak J Pediat. So this is you can say a tip to abbreviate the local journals in the correct Vancouver way. Okay. So should we take the question answer right now or in the end? Would you like to do the question answers right now or in the end? End. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So a very important thing on which somebody has unmuted the mic. I would request everyone to please mute their mics. I'll be grateful. Thank you very much.